Hi, it's Libby here on behalf of the Product Circle. I'm really excited to be announcing tonight's event. I know that the year has gone really quick and we are finally here, the last event of the year. This year we've had some amazing events. I joined a few months ago and even then we've had event after event with some great talkers, and I'm so excited to be going into next year with the Product Circle behind me, hosting more and more events with more speakers and more content for yourselves. This evening we are going to be kicking it off with a talk for this evening, which is done by Matteo. So Matteo has actually spoken on Product Circle before. He is a great member within Product Circle. He has a great network and is doing some really interesting talks at the moment with a number of organisations, alongside his also hands-on work with his company. So he's extremely busy at the moment and taking time this evening to be a part of Product Circle. So this evening Matteo is going to be doing to talk around different types and different tips within UX design. I know he's got some really interesting content to share with yourselves. A lot of it is a bit of a surprise because I know he is really excited for this event that he's been waiting for. After that, we're going to be joined to do some challenges, some UI design, so HTML is also involved within this lot of web design with Ricardo over at Kodiri, and we're going to be lots of really interesting things. I know he's got some real good challenges and places for yourself, some games that will just sort of test your knowledge. I mean, if it's not something that you tend to specialise within, then also get involved and see how good you do know those types of things. And then after that as well, so we'll be doing some, I know you may have heard, we'll be doing some raffles and some prizes. We've got some really great prizes. If you haven't already participated in the raffle, then feel free to go over to that now. The link will be at the bottom, just to get your place in the raffle to be able to get a prize at all. And then we'll also, on the last very thing after the event, we'll be doing a Christmas movie if you wish to stay along. This will obviously just to kick back and watch a Christmas movie. So I hope you all enjoyed the event as much as I do. I am really excited, really looking forward to this evening. I know it's been a long time coming. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy it.
Welcome everybody. I'm super happy to be here for this super special Christmas time with Product Circle UX. It's my second time with those fantastic guys. I'm super happy they invited me again, and I'm happy to be here again to have a chat with you. This time I want to make something a bit different than the last time we spoke together, and I want to talk to you about something that made me think a lot in the past few years, and I think that plenty of us are sharing the same experiences, and who will probably face the same things as well. So let me talk about the design reality. We're going to talk about what our companies and designers expect when they are working together. What are my expectations as a designer joining a company? What are the company's expectations about me or about the design team that is joining the company? Those are things that we are facing every single day. Every single time we are changing a job, every single time we start a new job, etc. The second part would be how to work better together, because this is what we are trying to do every single time. Because we want to be designers, we want to have impact, we have to take part of the customers, the part of the users, the part of everything, but we need to be part of the company as well. So how can we work better together? Let me start with the expectations. So what a company expects from a designer that is joining the company, particularly if the company never had a designer before, but even if a new designer is starting, many times it happens something like that. So first of all, they expect that you join and after a second you can solve their problem, or you can reply to their doubts. And many times that's not the case, because you have to learn what the company does, how the company works, etc. Then, of course, they want to maintain the status quo. They think that a designer is joining a company and they can continue to work exactly as they were working before. They can continue to treat the idea of creating a new feature and all those kind of things exactly as they did before. But for us designers, this is probably not acceptable. And so then they expect that we are not going to challenge the company culture, because many times, particularly if a company doesn't have a designer, before us, they have one kind of culture and we are expecting to put something different in. And of course, finally, the company expects that their value proposition and their product value proposition are intrinsically clear and we can understand them without any conscious explanation. We can find and reply to those questions by ourselves. What are the designer's expectations from companies when we are joining a company? I'm sure that everyone else in the world as a designer when joined a company, particularly for the first time, expected to be able to apply what we learned in our school, what we learned from the books, what we learned from the articles, what we learned from other people, from our mentors, etc., etc. And we could apply that as it is. So no adaptation, no challenges on what we think is right, what we think is correct, what we think is the right way to approach a problem, etc., etc. We also think that the company will not resist to changes. They are hiring us, so they are thinking that we are not going to change anything. We are just adding extra values. But we are not like that. And finally, we think that a company is aware of what it means to be a design-driven company. So we are going to put into the company what our extra information and extra points of view are taken into the company. And all the challenges we are going to make, we are thinking that they knows what they will expect. And all of this, of course, will create a first area of friction, what I call the wall. Of course, this is like a metaphor, if you want, of course, and all this presentation is about metaphors, but we will have wars because everything is difficult at the beginning. It is difficult to communicate. It is difficult to find the right language, to talk each other. It is difficult to agree on things, that we communicate in different ways, and we expect that one name, one topic, etc., is understood exactly as we meant it and we think it. And the opposite likewise is from the other side, the developers, the engineers, maybe also other designers, because they were used to something different. And this, of course, is cause of stress and frustration because everything is difficult. Everything is a challenge. Every communication, every single time we are trying to talk with someone else, we have to find the right way to tell them what we think, to tell them that we think that there could be another approach. And maybe the company is on the market, has been on the market for years and years and years. They've got a big knowledge of the market. They've got a big knowledge of the product they are, or the service they are managing. And we are going to challenge everything. And we have to learn how their language is, how their product works, etc., and they have to learn how we handle them and our customer handle them, because of course we've got this different point of view that usually is not so known inside a company. Even if your company is very old, it's very well known, many times they actually don't know exactly what their customers think. They didn't do interviews, they didn't do questionnaires, or maybe they did it, but sometimes it's difficult to organize them in the proper way, and the particular UX researcher will help in this area as well. So everything is difficult, and this also takes longer time to deliver because we have to adapt, to understand, to talk, to go through something that maybe is already known from others and from their perspective. And we have to learn it, and they have to learn how to be in contact with us, etc., etc. So everything is longer. And we also probably unfulfill the expectation at the beginning. Many times we start and the first thing is a failure. The first thing we are trying to do is not working. And we are not fulfilling their expectation and they are not fulfilling our expectation. And this is absolutely normal. Everything is a long shot. But it's human. We are humans. We all are. and the expectations to have something that align nicely, smoothly is in our nature. And I really like this sentence from Andy Vitale, which is a UX designer in the US. And he said, designers are good at making other people feel uncomfortable because we push the boundaries, but we actually are not good at being uncomfortable. And actually, also the others are not good at being uncomfortable. And this creates fights, war, battles, thinking we are in a trench and we have to sit there and we are on our position and the others are in their position, and we can't find a way to stay together, to work together, to be understood, to make diplomacy. This is the first step, the second step, and as soon as we are able to manage that, we need to be diplomatic. We need to find a way to communicate. We need to organize that, and we do all together that, the better. And diplomacy is the first step to find new ways to communicate. So the first bit for diplomacy is that we have to agree that time and resources are an investment. So we have to spend time as an investment for the future. We have to spend time together now, so then we don't have to spend time later. We have to spend time now in talking each other, in understanding each other, in understanding different points of view, understand where the weakness point of the different areas and the different departments are, and how to manage them in a way they can grow up, they can develop it, and they will remove them as well. It is important in the diplomacy side that designers, because this is what we are talking about, and are involved in teams' decisions, are involved in teams in general. Because many times at the beginning, I remember the first company I joined as a solo designer, if you want, a designer was seen as a pixel pusher, someone that was managing just the visual side of it, because design, unfortunately, as a name, is a bit controversial, just the name. So I was not involved in any team's decision. I just received requests. I need this button, this size, with this color, etc., etc., without asking me anything about my actual knowledge and what I actually could help more. That is not creating a button, or the asset for a button or an icon, etc., etc. But it was more about how to create flows, how to analyze things, etc., etc. just at the beginning. So the first step is to be involved in teams' decision, at least team discussions, teams communications, etc., etc. And we're going to build a big common language this way, because if we are involved, we are able to build some commonalities. So we all know that with user flow will mean something. And actually, every single company will probably have a different nuance in what user flow is. And we will agree with that. And we will understand, and everyone will understand what user flow, I'm using user flow as an example, mean. And it is important that even if we went from a different company, we should know, we must know that user flow in the previous company meant something, in the new company maybe is a bit different, and we should adapt to it. And we should also teach and mentor about something that is related with design, and being mentored about something that is not related with design, but maybe with engineering, with financials, with marketing, etc. And every single company has got different ways to approach every single different department language. And we have to adapt frameworks and processes. This is the first and most important thing that I learned when I started to manage things. I studied frameworks, I studied processes, I studied ways to approach a problem. Just to make an example as a name, I don't know, design sprint. we are using design sprints, but you can't use a design sprint in the way Google is using it. You have to adapt it to your company, to the people that are working with you, to your team, to the actual members of the team. And maybe this type of framework is not working for your company, and you have to find a different one, and you have to adapt it, etc., etc. And this is super important, and this is time consuming, but this is part of the diplomacy process, and it is also part of the common development that we can have between designers, developers, engineers, product managers, product owners, all the stakeholders you will have in your company. And failing now, so the first time we failed, but it was not accepted. It was a failure. It was something that was on our shoulder. Now that we can make some mistakes, that we can fail sometimes, could be acceptable, actually is acceptable. But the result of that should be a big learn, and we should track it. We should make retrospective on it. We should check and iterate on it and try to be better the next time and find solution for that. We have to try to manage the risk we are taking doing something completely new. If we are not going to apply standard frameworks, I don't know, thinking at the UI, standard ways to manage a button, but doing something that's completely crazy and new and nobody did before, or at least we think that nobody did before. We can accept that we are going to fail, but we have to decide it in advance that it should be, and it would be something that the company would accept as a risk. And then we have also to learn after that maybe in the next time we can approach the problem in a different way, etc., etc. JS Pool is one of the guys well known in the design world, and this is one of the sentences about the failure that I heard him many times saying is, one thing is clear from our research: failing is hard. It is very hard, because it's not only failing, is learning from the failure, and learning from something that already hurted you. It is not easy, and analyze that failure is even harder. And this analysis should be a regular practice for us as designers and for the entire team and large team out of the design world. And if everything is going well, after a war and a lot of diplomacy, we can have also peace. This should be our goal when we join a company, to be in peace with the company. This is what we want, and what, as a human being, we are trying to achieve every single time. We want to be happy. We want to be in a peaceful place. And what happens when it's peaceful? Processes are adapted and are adopted also, and they follow the contextual models, because different projects, different products, different teams, different organizations, etc., requires different processes, and also the development in the time being of the product life requests to change it, because something that was okay 2 years ago maybe is not okay anymore, because things evolved, and we need to adapt. Of course, designers in this case, when it's peaceful, are part of a team, are integrated. Maybe there is a design team, an entire design team, a lot of different design teams, but they are integrated in the product, in the project, in the service development. And there is a continued evolution of everything, of the communication, of the workflow, of the processes, and this is accepted, and this is something that we are doing consciously. We are iterating about frameworks, and we are evaluating them continuously. We are retrospectively challenging them and see what we can evolve and what we can refine and what we can make better. When we were in the diplomacy side, we were doing it sometimes. Now this is something that is part of the culture of the company. We want to do it. Everyone wants to do it because we feel better and we feel that we are developing better, to a better place. And again, failure or errors are contemplated and integrated in the improvement process. Again, with the retrospective, with the risk management, and all those kind of things. They are integrated part of our process. Of course, we are trying not to fail, and we are trying not to make errors. This is what we must attend to, but it could happen, and we have to accept it. And when it happens, we have to analyze it again. Just Brewer said that it is important to point out that working collaboratively can increase the quality of our output, and also the consensus, internal and external, from the company. So the internal team consensus, the external team consensus, and the customer's consensus as well. And this is super important, because if a team is working well, this is really visible outside from the company. Right? Many times, when a company is not working internally, this is visible externally. Of course, this takes prizes with it, and those could be big prizes, small prizes, but they are prizes, and this is something that will enrich us. First of all, we will have a shared culture, a culture that is understood by everyone. Everyone knows what our value propositions are. Everyone knows what our values are. Everyone knows how to communicate with the others. Everyone knows how to work together. Exactly. We are integrated teams. Integrated teams can work better together, are faster to deliver, are more reliable. We've got a lot better communication. We are talking the same language. We are able also to refer to things without naming them, because it's something that is a known knowledge and a shared knowledge. We also have better products because we are working better together. We are listening more all the different departments. And from our side, we are listening also more the customers, the clients, or people that are using our service, etc., etc. And also, as designers, also our internal colleagues, because many times we are servicing them as well. And we all know our goals. We have got common goals, because if we share the culture, we share the products, we share also the goals. There are no or less differences in the goals between the different departments, for instance, because they are talking a lot better within each other, and they are also trying to achieve the same goal. So of course, marketing will have a different point of view than design, than engineering, etc., etc. But the common goal is still there, and is important because it's the common base for everyone. And we've got a lot of more engagement, internal engagement, engagement between the teams, and engagement between the people. Many times, those are the companies where you are playing, I don't know, ping pong or tennis table, actually. Sorry, ping pong is, as we Italians talk about it. You have a lot more shared things between people. And this could take also to better revenues, because if you got better products, everyone is happier and have better services, also the revenues will increase probably. So just to wrap up, because I'm talking quite a lot and I know that, some takeaways that I would point out for you. First of all, communication is key. Without communication, without spending a lot of time in try to communicate properly with our peers, with our teammates, with our counterpart in the other teams, etc., etc., we will not achieve any goal, and everything will stay difficult. Everything will stay in the war area. When we can work together, a new company-wide collaborative culture will emerge, and this is visible when teams are working better together and engaging themselves, a lot more. And actually, they many times are self-engaging. I need you. I need your help. I need to see what you're doing. I'm asking your feedback. Even if you are not my department, even if you are not a designer, I need you, and vice versa from the other side. I had super amazing conversation with developers about the way they were coding, because it was related with something that I also like, and they were happy to share it, and that creates something. And that was a way to open a channel, communication channel. And in the end, we started to communicate better and to collaborate a lot more. And they invited me to their meetings, even if they were not directly interesting for me. And this opened up a few questions. And this opened up also to the design team to be part of the meetings with the developer team, just to start to review in advance things. And this opened up other opportunities, etc., etc. And everything evolved. Diplomacy and balance are part of the game. Many times we don't want to be balanced. We are biased. We are second guessing. We are pushing for our beliefs and our wishes. And this is absolutely normal. But when in a company, when we are working together with others, we need to be diplomatic. We need to find the right balance between our needs and our department needs, and maybe our customer needs, and also what the company can do and the challenges they have. I mean, I don't know, maybe the engineering can't do something that we think that is easy to do, and we have to find the right balance with it. But if we are not going to ask why it is so difficult, and what can we do instead, it is difficult to find a proper solution also from our side, and we'll be stuck with what we thought at the beginning was the right solution, etc., etc. And it will take time. It is a long process, and many times it is not also easy, and sometimes it's not comfortable. But we can do it, and particularly we can do it together. We are a team. We are team players. Designers must be team players. Designers must know the language of everyone else, and we can do it together. And this is my message also for Christmas: be together. And okay, thank you all. Thank you again to UX Product Circle for having me, and speak to you soon.
Yeah, that was a great talk, Matteo. Some really good content there.
Thank you.
I know you've been really excited to be able to put that all together and make it happen. So it was really, really good. We have got some questions for yourself, Matteo, from Pusher. The first one for you is, how can a designer who maybe isn't being given enough input to a team's decision change that around within their company?
I slightly mentioned something related with that in the end of my talk. It was related with the talking with other part of the environment, like developers, etc., and having conversation with them and try to find interesting topics that are related also with design, and to involve yourself in their stuff. Many times the best advice could be like, learn the other's language, learn the like the business language. If you're talking with business people, learn the engineering and developer language if you're talking with them, etc., etc., and sit with them, try to understand their problem, try to make visible that you can help in other areas, so they then don't have to think about things that are up to you. Because plenty of time it happens that I found people were working on, I don't know how to create this page. I already did it. Why you're doing that? So you should be able to focus yourself on something else. Of course, again, you should be diplomatic in this kind of conversation, so particularly at the beginning, because it is easy to be misunderstood. It is easy to make the others feels you want to take their job or stuff like that, because we know a lot of things that are related with other areas. We are a bit of holistic guys in some ways. So the only thing is be careful, but be absolutely open and try to have conversations. Many times we have to start a conversation. It is difficult, others will start the conversation. If it makes sense.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. That's a brilliant response, and a good question as well. Another question for yourself, Matteo, is should it be okay for a designer to raise their hand in a company and highlight certain things that are wrong and at the risk of challenging the status? What's your opinion on that?
I'm the challenger, so I would say that yes. Again, it is something that you have to find the right way to do, because everything is related with emotions as well, even if they are hidden. There are a lot of emotions in place. There are people that are in that they've been in a company for a lot of years, that there've been people that are in charge of something, and you will raise up or flag issues that you can see and other maybe can't see, or maybe they already knows and they decided not to tackle them, etc., etc. So you have to find where and how you can do that. What I can say is that usually when you find a way to open the door is opening, and you also have an entire gate opened, and maybe even more. Because people needs help, it is very difficult to ask for help.
Yeah.
And we should find a way to do it, but it is definitely right to raise your hand and say, oh, there is something that I don't understand, at least. Maybe not saying it's wrong, because we know that there is no good or right or wrong, or good or bad. Every time there is something in the middle, or there are other points of view, or there are reasons that we don't know because of something is going some ways. So it is important to enter in those, to go into those conversations with the right approach. And to me, the right approach is trying to understand reasons and try to red flag something in a very good way.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, sorry, there's just a little pause there. I do apologise. So yeah, no, that's definitely all completely correct. Really good response there. It is always a difficult one, whether, and obviously you've clearly explained, whether to be that challenger, like you said, that you are sometimes. We've also got Priya Dashini, who just wanted to thank you for your talk and said that you some of those things you mentioned that were great insights for beginners. So some really good feedback there from herself. And the final question for yourself, also pushing, just making you aware that it was a great talk as well, which it definitely was. Just some tips that you've learned so far for sharing responsibilities and better integration in a virtual or remote culture. Just some of your own tips that you've picked up.
It's something that I still learning to do. It is a lot easier to create misunderstanding issues when you are working remotely. You can't see each other. So when you are writing and you are working asynchronous, so this is hard, and this is something that is difficult to tackle. My approach is not to jump on a conversation too soon. Take your time to think at least 2 or 3 or 4 times before sending a message, because by the time you're writing, if it's possible, just turn on the camera, turn on a call, and have a quick conversation. It will solve a lot of issues in advance, and in just a few minutes instead, maybe hours. And finally, try to not fall into too many different channels of communications, because what we are facing now is that we've got emails, we've got the chat, we've got calls, we've got a million of different tools we are communicating into, and everywhere we are required in some ways. Well, my idea is try to focus on the most important one and take the time for the others only once every a few hours or once a day if it's possible, in order to not to be overwhelmed by the amount of information and messages you have everywhere, and you can't follow all the conversation. Because the biggest problem is to be flooded, inundated by messages, notifications, etc. And this is something that will create issues for you, because then you're replying without the right attention and the right focus on it. So definitely take the time to reply the right time.
Definitely. No, that's it was a good and a really good question as well, especially with everything that's going on at the moment. And obviously a really good response there as well, Matteo. So hopefully that does help people out a little bit in the right direction.
Thank you.
And then now, obviously, we're going to be doing some online challenges, some online games, and some really interactive work with Ricardo and Kodiri. So I know he's got some really good things lined up for ourselves. So really excited to see what he's put together for that as well, including HTML. I know there's some other bits and bobs in there as well. So.
Yeah, I would like to share the screen if possible, Alex. Yeah, I will. Should we go on right now? Cool, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for having me today. Yeah, so we're gonna play some games. Yeah, as you said. So we are gonna use the Kodiri platform. Some of you may be familiar with it. If not, don't worry. And actually, if you've never touched any line of code, that's fine. So the idea will be that we will play with a series of online games using HTML and CSS. Obviously, these technologies make a vital role, right, as part of the UI and UX journey. So Matteo, will you be here with me to help me solving these problems?
I will try.
Nice.
Everyone will see that I don't remember anything, but
that's why we'll work together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. So yeah, I'm gonna show you in a minute how the platform works. So Alex, I'm sure if you can help me. Yes. Yeah.
So when I go onto that, which one should I click on? Oh yeah. Sure. Is that what? 1 second. Okay, wait. You know, I'm not very practical.
Well, you can just make me the host and I'll be able to activate it.
How do I do that?
If you just go to participants and then find me, and then you can make me the host.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's probably easier.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that done? Cool, there we go. Right, multiple participants can share something.
Yeah, it works now.
Good.
Thank you very much. All right, so yeah, hopefully you can see my screen. So this is Kodiri. This is an online gaming platform, completely free. We don't make any profit out of it. So our goal is to help people with the coding skills, with a special focus on supporting unprivileged and underrepresented communities. So the way this platform, Kodiri.com, works is once you land by the first time, you will see some sort of filtering on the left-hand side where you can select your favorite language, framework, library, whatever, and then the difficulty level. So we try to make the learning curve as much progressive as possible. So even if it's your very first time dealing with coding, don't worry, because we'll support you. And actually, some of the exercises that Matteo and myself are going to play today are very, very, very fundamental. So let's just do a quick demo about what can you expect with Kodiri. So because we're going to talk today about HTML and CSS, so I will select it on the left-hand side. I will stick to lower beginner, which is the most fundamental difficulty level. And then on the right-hand side, we can select a particular module or a topic about what do we want to play with. Do we want to get better painting colors? That will be the first module. Do we want to play with font size, styling, and stuff like that? So we've got different topics depending on where our appetite is today, right? So let's do a quick demo on the interface, and then we'll start with the game. So imagine that I want to improve my ability to deal with colors. So when I select the module, so what we are going to get is 5 questions about that particular topic, colors. The way the user interface works is on the left-hand side, you get the problem. So we present you the exercise. And in this occasion, the problem is we expect you to build a very simplistic user interface where we're going to display a piece of text on top, welcome to HTML and CSS. And the text should be displayed in a particular color, yellow color in this occasion. And also, we present you how the user interface should look like across different devices. So this is the expected behavior for mobile, but we also got tablet, we got laptop, and we even got TVs, right? So that's the problem on the left-hand side. Then on the right-hand side, we present you the code. As you can see, we got a bit of HTML on top and then a bit of CSS at the bottom. The code has been, or the markup has been partially written for us. This is the most fundamental difficulty level. And the only thing we need to do is to fill the gaps. You see, we may find one or more placeholders, so we have to fill the basket, right, with the right answer. So, Matteo, if you came across that particular exercise, so could you help me to solve the problem? So you see, we got here the placeholder. So which will be your selected option in this case?
C, I would say.
C. Okay, so fair enough. So let's mark it and let's see what happens. So now we're evaluating whether your code matches the expectation or not, right? Exactly. We get nice. So we get confetti time. That means that, yes, the answer is right. Imagine that because of whatever reason, we select the wrong option. So for instance, let me select option A, which is not correct from a CSS point of view, but let's mark it and see what happened. So now we don't get confetti, unfortunately. And something you can see at the bottom of my screen is that you can select between what we expected. We expected the text to be in yellow color. What you return, the text remains white because we didn't manage to change the color. And eventually, last but not least, you got the diff, right? So here we are highlighting pixel by pixel the differences between the expected and the eventual result. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea for this difficulty level. We'll play some questions similar to this one. We'll play some more advanced questions, but we have to code everything by ourselves, but that's pretty much the idea. Once you are happy with the result, you click submit, and then you'll move to the next question. I'm gonna skip the next one just to show you what happened at the end. So at the end of the game, you are gonna get a score. In this occasion, my score was 0 because I changed my mind and I picked the wrong answer. But then you will see that some players, they managed to get like a pentagon, like a shape here, proving how good or how bad their performance was in a scale from 0 to 100. I'll go back to this point later on. For now, let me explain the rules of the game. So you go to kodiri.com, then on the left menu, you select challenges, and then you will see that we prepared 3 different games. So you see that there is the product circle UX game. There are other challenges at the bottom. You can ignore them. Just focus on the top one. And then you see that we got 3 difficulty levels. Lower beginner, so that's pretty much what we play with. It's a quiz game where you need to select the right option. So if you've never done any HTML or CSS, that's probably your level. Then we got upper beginner. It's kind of similar level of difficulty. However, we don't get any options, A, B, C, or D. So we need to code everything by ourselves. And then we got the upper intermediate level where we deal with things like layouting, right? How to display a grid with columns and a header and a footer. All these things that are so important when we deal with UI and UX, right? So I would like to invite you to play any of these games. Don't worry if you join a game and you realize this is too easy or too hard. You can leave it and play another one. So don't worry. Yeah? We are not gonna actually point with our finger to your performance. This is just a game, a friendly game. And then at the end of the exercise, we are gonna evaluate the performance of the participants. And to make this activity a bit less intimidating, we're gonna play by teams. What that means? So what that means is that once you select a particular game, what you will get is the chance to select a team. Yeah, the teams are completely irrelevant. So this is just to make this activity a bit more collaboration friendly. So just feel free to pick any of the teams. Matteo, do you have any particular preference when you work with CSS? Do you prefer Flex? Do you prefer Grid? A mix of both, depending on the circumstances?
I've never used Flex by myself, so I know how it works, but I don't know.
Okay. Maybe today we'll do some exercises with Flex.
Yeah,
by the way,
why not?
while the audience play with some of these games, so Matteo and myself, we're gonna solve or deal at least with some of these questions. The idea will be, first of all, try to answer the questions and also trying to discuss different patterns, coding styles, trying to find the best approach in each use case scenario. At the end of the game, we'll present the results, as I said before. So the games will expire in 34 minutes. So yeah, let's just start with the basics, Matteo, to warm up a bit. And then if we got time, we'll do something a bit more spicy. Yeah? All right, so let's just select a random team and let's see what we got. So question number 1. So we need to build a user interface for mobile. In this particular case, business doesn't really care about other formats like tablet or desktop or whatever. And the goal here is to display a message on top of the screen, hello from the 90s. That's pretty much it, right? You can see on the right-hand side that the code has been partially filled, but there are some gaps, some placeholders that we need to deal with. So, Matteo, do you have any thoughts about?
So the first one will be div.
Will be div, okay. Opening div, yeah, like that.
Yeah, opening div. The second one was closing div, and the last one will be font family.
Font family. That's very interesting. Let's see what happens if we evaluate that proposal. It didn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, font family will be.
I don't know. Look, let's have a look. So we expected the text to be quite large. However, look, it's quite small. It's not just the font family. Look at the size of the text. It's not actually, I believe that rule is not applying at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, clear.
Look, my feeling is, look at this selector. We're selecting label, right? So that means that CSS rule.
Oh yeah, no, I see. Okay, and now I understood. I didn't understand how it worked. So the first one would be label. The second one is closed label, and font family should be right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's review font family. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think font family is the right rule. So let's test again. See if it works. Nice. Look, confetti time, right? So yeah, that's great. It worked fine.
Now you got it. I was too fast to read.
Yeah. Do you use Times New Roman these days, Matteo?
Not so often, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool, interesting. All right, let's move.
I'm not on
sorry,
a Windows machine, so doesn't help to.
Exactly. Nice. All right, let's do something. Let's do something else. So still in the lower beginner level. So the expected interface is we expected to build the header with some kind of title and a border. So this exercise is pretty much about building the border. We have to fill a couple of gaps. So the first one talks about the border itself. The second one is about the radius of the border. So any thoughts, Matteo, about the first one?
Yeah, the first one is C.
Is C? Okay, so you said that this is the way we declare a border in CSS, right? So first of all, we set the thickness of the border, then the style. Yeah, it could be solid, could be dotted, could be whatever, and eventually the color. Yeah? Nice. Let's mark it.
And the second one is A.
A. So border dash radius, right?
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Yeah. So let's mark it. Should be right. Yeah. Let's see. Look at that. Fantastic. It works. Brilliant. Nice one, Matteo. Yeah, that's great. I think you nail it. So I think because now we got a decent understanding about how the platform works. If you don't mind, I would like to try something slightly more difficult. So let's do something. Let me quit this game. Let me look. We got quite a lot of people playing. That's very interesting. So let me jump to upper beginner, which again, that's not gonna be any difficult at all compared to lower beginner. The main challenge here is that we don't get the help of the placeholder. We need to code everything by ourselves. So look at what we got here. Question number 1. Again, mobile, we present a piece of text surrounded by a red border because of whatever reason. The HTML part has been completed for us, which is nice. Yeah. So it's pretty much all about writing the CSS based on the instructions we got. So the instructions say that the border should be red, 1 pixel, solid. And then we got some tips regarding the dimensions of the box. It should fit all the available width on the viewport and half of the available height. So, Matteo, any thoughts?
Should be width 100%.
Width 100%. Fair enough. Yeah.
High 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And then border 1px solid red.
Border 1px solid. Interesting. That's great. Let's test it and see if it works. Oh, something didn't work. I think that was my fault. So what was the height? I think that's my fault. I just
50%.
Sorry. So yeah, that was my fault. Sorry. Yes, no correct. Yeah, nice, brilliant, easy peasy. Got a question for you, Matteo. Do you have any thoughts regarding one of the new CSS units, which is the VW and V?
I'm not so used to them, I have to say. Yeah. I know that they exist, but I've never actually used them.
Yep. Yeah,
so I can't help.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think they are quite handy. So what they do is when you type VW, so that means that this is essentially you're saying that this box is 100% exactly the viewport in the horizontal axis. That's the width. Likewise, you can use the view height. Yeah, or you can mix them, right? You can do things like that, which is quite cool. So you want a box with a width that is half of the height of the device. Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting.
It is. I never used them, so I just didn't use them in the exercise as well.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah. Good stuff. Nice one, Matteo. So yeah, I mean that works fine. Let's do question number 2, perhaps. What we got here? Oh, modern football is a business. What do you think? Do you agree on that? It's not a sport anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Nice.
As a swimmer, I couldn't disagree.
Okay. Exactly. Cool. Yeah. So this is about displaying again a piece of text for mobile. And the main difficulty here is we need to find a way to strike through a piece of text. You see the word sport is with a line in the middle. So we need to figure out how to do that. Thankfully, we got a bit of help because the exercise has been partially completed. So let me write down the HTML for you, at least partially, and then we can talk about the details. So modern football is a sport business. So I don't know, Matteo, do you got any thoughts?
Looking at what is following, we should add like a label tag for sport with a class that with name line through.
Yep, I like it. So we have the label surrounding the sport word, and then with the class, as you said, line through.
And then we've got in the class text decoration. I don't remember the one that is.
Look, I think Matteo,
I'm using underline. I've never used the one that is crossing out, so I don't remember.
So if any of the players is struggling like us with this kind of questions, something you may have noticed is that you got some resources.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So, I wouldn't cheat. Line through. Okay. You already helped me with the name of the class.
Exactly. We're spoiling the result a bit with the name of the class, right?
You're crazy. Perfect.
Cool. Nice one. Let's see if it works, right? Let's see if it works. Oh, fantastic. Confetti time again. Nice. How common, Matteo, is in the UX world using line throughs into the content?
Not for me. I'm used to work for softwares and stuff like that. So in those cases, we are not using it too much. I bet that for websites and other things like that, you are using a lot more, particularly when you are communicating things.
Yep. Nice. Cool. Good stuff. Nice one. One more. And then let's do something a bit more difficult. We've solved this one in the lower beginner. You see some questions can be repeated. So let me skip to question number 4. HTML is about boxes. So I hope this is going to be quite simple. So we want to display a green box somewhere in the top left corner of the screen with some basic properties about width, height, and also the color itself. So, Matteo, you tell me.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I have to think back how to use the boxes because I don't remember it.
All right.
So.
All right. While you think, let me prepare it a bit. So I will create a div selector because because we got the div here. And now we need to set up some properties, some CSS properties. The exercise is giving us some keywords, right? Please display a green one. So do you remember, Matteo, how to change the...
Yeah, it's background color.
Background color.
Should be, but it should be like, if we're going to use the sizes again, we have to resize it.
Fair enough. Yeah, so let's put the background color first. And now,
sorry.
And now let's play with the dimension. So here we are not talking about percent. We're not talking about BH or BW. We're talking about pixels, hard-coded amount of pixels. So
just directly naming them 120 px and 60
px.
px,
height, Yep, fair enough. Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's test it. Yes, great. That was easy. I think because we still got 22 minutes. Let's do one more in the beginners. So if someone is learning how to deal with HTML and CSS, hopefully we'll appreciate that. Cool. Again, about displaying text surrounded by border and stuff like that, right? So I think we should take into consideration the text is quite large. The border is not solid anymore. Yeah, it has a fancy styling and a given color, of course. So yeah, I can prepare the HTML a bit for you while you think the next steps.
This is a mention for my side. I didn't realize where the HTML was. That you had to write it on top because it is not boxed around, so I couldn't see it.
Nice. Yeah, so from a UX point of view, we could improve that somehow. I don't know what you think, Matteo. I found that it's a kind of a trendy styling pattern right now to get rid of colors, borders, keep everything super flat, which may look nice, but what do you think from a usability point of view? Sometimes
you should not confuse the users. So that's it. In the end,
I agree on that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
inside the div, we have to place an H1 with the title "Welcome to
an H1." Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So we are gonna alter the size of the text, not using CSS, but using HTML. Do you have any preference, by the way, Matteo? So whenever you need to display a title, are you the kind of person that creates an HTML semantic tag, H1, H2, H3, or do you prefer to use font size in CSS?
Semantics for me. Also because they are read by the browsers, etc. So definitely semantics when it's possible.
Yeah. Good point. Nice one. Brilliant. So so we got the HTML ready, hopefully. Now the border is there. However, we're going to introduce a new element in our CSS. Look at the instructions. Following. So we're talking about spacing between the text and the border. So that's the padding, right, Matteo?
Yep.
Yeah, correct. So let's put some padding.
So it's padding 20 space 60.
20 and 60. So why 20 and 60 and not, for instance, 60 and 20?
Because if I remember properly, when you shorten them out, the first number is the y-axis and the second number is the x-axis.
Yeah. I think so as well. Yeah. So exactly. So the first number will apply to the y-axis, the vertical axis, and the second number will be in the horizontal. Yeah. We can visually see that the horizontal spacing is bigger than the vertical one. Right. Let's see if that works. Oh, it doesn't. Oops. All right. That's good. We did something wrong somewhere. Let's have a look. So we expected that, and what we got?
To my app is the text.
Yes, sorry, that's a silly mistake. Yes,
no
you're
problem.
right. Let's test again. Nice. Yeah. Now it works. By the way, this is padding border, so that's about the box model. Yeah. So if anyone in the audience is trying to deal with the box model, so we got several or different properties here. So first of all, we got the content by itself, right? Then we got the padding, which is the space between the content and the border. Then we have the border itself. And then we got the margin, which is the space between your element and sibling elements, right? So I used to refer to this problem with an analogy. So I used to say that the content, this is like your bed. Imagine that you are in your place. So the content will be your bed. The padding will be the space between your bed and the walls of your bedroom. Yeah, where you have the desk, the chair, the whatever, furniture. Yeah. Then we have the wall, the bricks. And then, I don't know, if in this space here, there will be the space between your house and your neighbor's house, something like that. That will be the margin.
I like it.
Nice. All right. I mean, we got 17 minutes left. So let's do something more complicated, right? Let's do something before I spoil the results. Let's play a bit of upper intermediate. So this is going to be more challenging. So again, here this is mostly about either layouting, as I said before, rows, columns, yeah, or animations, right? So animating stuff, fading in, fading out, sliding.
It's not for me. I'm joking. I will learn. That's fine.
Okay. Let's do probably one each. Let's see. We got 16 minutes. Let's see if we got time. So, yeah, I like this question. So this is a classic problem that was very, 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 very challenging, historically speaking, in HTML and CSS, aligning stuff. Yeah, particularly when we talk about the vertical axis. However, now thanks to Flex and Grid, we can kind of deal with this problem relatively easily. So first of all, I'm going to create the HTML structure. That will give me maybe a couple of minutes to think about the eventual solution. So I'm going to use Flex. We could use Grid as well, but I'm going to use Flexbox. With Flexbox, we can easily arrange elements across a given container. So I'm going to call it container. I think this is kind of a standard way of calling the parent element. In some resources, they call it wrapper, but it doesn't really matter, right? As far as you don't call it Brexit, it's going to be fine. So let me create 3 child elements. So the first one is going to be called top. Next one is going to be called middle. And eventually, the last one is going to be called bottom, right? So I think that actually, look, so we refer to them with the class item, no problem at all. So class item, and item. You see, so the HTML, it's just pretty simple. Now the challenge is on the CSS side. So first of all, we got the container. So let me declare a new CSS rule. I said that I wanted to use Flex, so let me use display Flex. So that will enable a bunch of possibilities. Something I would like to do is I would like to expand my content through all the available height. You see, the first element is displayed on top, but the last one is displayed at the very bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use height 100%. That's not correct yet. However, let's divide and conquer. Let's see if at this stage I get something that makes me feel comfortable towards facing any upcoming steps. So let's see what happens if I test it as it is right now. Look, I expected that. I got something, well, not that bad. So first of all, height 100% work. You see all the boxes go all the way down. The first problem I see is that each box has a different size, different width. So at the moment, they fit to the content. That's why bottom is wider than top, for instance. But we can easily address the problem by using a property in Flexbox called Flex1. So with Flex1, we're saying that, just long story short, all the columns will have the same size. Let's test it again. Yeah, see if that actually made any impact or not. Look, it did. You see, we're getting closer. So now we've got 3 columns of the same size. So what we need to do now is to play with the alignment of each column. And how we're going to do that? Look, I'm going to add a secondary class to each item. So for instance, the first one, I'm going to call it is top, perhaps. The second one is going to be called is middle. And the last one is going to be called is bottom. Why I'm doing that? Because now I can customize the behavior, the individual behavior of each column. So for instance, for the first one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a flex property called align self. And I'm going to introduce a value called, I think it's called flex start. So that will align the top column to the very top of the screen. Likewise, I'm going to repeat the strategy for the other two boxes. So for the middle, the align select property, if I remember correctly, is center. So I will display that middle box literally in the middle of the screen. And finally, for the east bottom, I will select flex end, I think it is. I think I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, that will be my strategy. Matteo, I'm not sure if you got any thoughts about it.
No.
All right.
I'm learning with you.
Okay. So you're putting a lot of responsibility in my shoulders. So
You are my teacher today.
yeah. All right, let's test it. Oh, here you go. We get confetti.
Perfect.
So that's right. Yeah, that would be a potential solution. Again, we could use grid without any problems, but yeah, that was my choice. All right, we got 11 minutes left, so hopefully we have time for one more questions. Matteo, there's a bit of animations, right? You express some interest. Question number 2 is about using grid. It's kind of similar. I'm going to skip it for now. Look at this one. That's a good question. So create a fading notification system. That's very important, right? From a UX point of view. So whenever we want to tell the user about whatever, thank you for submitting your exercise, we display a message somewhere. Some apps, they present the message from top, other apps send the message from the bottom, in the middle. I don't know. Do you have any particular preferences about how to present notification messages to the users, Matteo?
I hide all the notification. No, I'm joking. No, that's fine. And a fade in is okay.
Yeah. Okay. In this case, so what we see is the 3 stages of the notification lifecycle. So by default, we don't get any notification. The screen is completely empty. Half a second later, pop, we'll get, that we're fading in success, as an example. And then half a second later, the message is gone. So this is like a message that will be on and off very quickly because of whatever reason. All right, so as usual, I would like to start with the HTML bit because it's going to be quite simple, hopefully. So I got my HTML here, success, and then let's do the CSS part. I'm going to use a class because I want to apply some styles only on that element, not in every single div of my app, obviously. Let me call it perhaps message or success message, I don't know. And then on the CSS part, so we need to apply some properties. Let's start with the basics, the coloring and stuff, right? So the box should have, a background color. Yeah, green. What color is that? Green, and then black text. So how do we change the font color in CSS?
Just color.
Yeah.
Black.
Why is color and not text color or font color? Who knows, right? CSS, yes, CSS tricks. Cool. So color is going to be black. So now the difficult or the challenging part is on the animation part, right?
Yeah, you also have to, I think, to is the div automatically 100%?
That's a good question. It should because I'm using a div, and divs by default are block-based.
Size, yeah.
Right. So to display the animation, what we need to do is, first of all, I'm gonna set an animation name. So I'm gonna call it, I don't know, show message, for instance. Before I forget, we need to set up the duration. So the animation should run for 1 second, end to end. So the way we declare the animation duration is by typing animation duration. That's kind of predictable, I suppose. Once S. And then
it should be a fade, shouldn't it? I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. No, you didn't mention it. You mentioned it when you were talking. I just remember that.
Yeah. So in my mind, in my mind, the message will start to fade in progressively and then it fade out. But this is just in my romantic mind. In reality, it could be a bit more aggressive. Success, and that's it. I don't know. I don't think the exercise is actually opinionated about the fading effect we should apply, which simplify things a bit, right?
Okay.
So I don't have any issues with that. So let's set up the animation. So to do that, we need to use the keyword keyframes, and then the name of the animation, which is going to be show message. So now what we have to do here is we need to set up some steps. So also
at 0%.
At 0%
should be opacity 0.
Yeah, I agree on that. What else?
And then at 0.1%. Because it's 1 millisecond. Yes, is one. That one should be visible. So now opacity is. What is it? 1.
Okay.
And then I don't know how to do it between the 90% and the it's not 0.1%, it's 10%, sorry.
Yeah, if you put 0.1%, that would be
it's shorter. No, I was thinking in seconds and not in percentage. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that would be
10%.
10%, yeah.
So it's a 90% should go opacity 0, I bet.
Mm-hmm. And okay, anything else?
The box is expected to be displayed with green background and black text. Okay, it should work.
All right, let's test it. Let's see what happens.
I don't remember the animations. I did them, but I didn't remember them. Oh, it's fixed there.
It didn't work. Let's see what happened.
Because I didn't know. Sorry, go.
No, the first problem we got here, Matteo, is by default, we are already displaying the message. You see, mobile, what we return by default, the message should be there. The message is there. However, it shouldn't be there at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know why this is happening. I'm not a big fan of declaring styles at 0% because they may not apply as expected. Imagine that we got something called animation delay 3 seconds. We want to run the animation after 3 seconds. These rules won't apply until the beginning of the animation, right? So
okay,
what I used to do is rather than setting up some styles at 0%, I simply put it here. Like this is my default. Yeah, by default.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah, the message is not easier. Exactly. Let's run it again. I'm not 100% sure yet, but let's run it again to see what happened. It didn't work. Look, we passed the first stage. So you see, by default, the message is hidden. Fantastic. But look what happened at 0.5 seconds. Can you see the problem?
Yeah, the opacity is not full visible.
So. Yes, the message is there, but the opacity is not 1 for sure. And I think the problem... Say it again?
I don't remember if opacity is 0.1 or 0.100.
That's right. Opacity moves between 0 and 1. Why? Don't ask me, but that's right. The problem is that CSS interpolates values between 2 keyframes. So the way it works is if at 10% is 1 and at 90% is 0, that means that at 50% will be 0.55 or something like that, right? We don't want that. We want the message to be fully visible until the end. So what we can do is at 90%, we're going to keep it to 1.
Yeah, of course, you've got opacity by default. So 0 by default. So that works.
Exactly. And then finally, we had to remember to change the opacity to 0, right?
Yeah.
Again. All right, so we tested, Matteo.
So everyone saw that I didn't remember anything about CSS today.
No worries. You did your job.
Those are the
already
typical
before.
thing that I'm used to. Okay, I did that. I'm gonna search.
Yeah. No, and also I think this is one of these things that if you work on that on a daily basis or regularly, it's easy to remember. But otherwise,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. I mean, let's test it. We got 1.5 minutes. So if it doesn't work, we got extra pressure to fix it before the timeout. Did it work? Nice. It worked. It worked in this occasion, right? So yeah, I mean, I think that was a nice exercise. As you can see, we had to sweat a bit. It wasn't that trivial. By the way, as many as you will know, working with animations is a big challenge. We sometimes have to deal with complex animations. I'm not going to do right now the exercise that I'm going to present, but just if you like animations, if you like to play with these kind of things, so I would like to invite you to go to the playground on the left-hand side, and then if you select the upper intermediate level, so first of all, you'll find some exercises about Flexbox and Grid. So for instance, talking about Grid, you'll find out some quite advanced exercises. Let me show you the last one, for instance. You see centering things and also building complex layouts that potentially may adapt themselves for different user interfaces. Pretty much the same thing for animations. So we got a whole topic for animations where you can do nice things like bouncing a tennis ball. So at the beginning it's on top, then after 1 second it will be, So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoy the challenge. I think it has expired already. Yes, it did. So now I think it's a good time to present the results. So first of all, I hope you enjoy the challenge. If you like the platform, again, we don't make any profit out of it. So we are looking for volunteers, people interested in helping communities. If you are a coder at any of the supported languages, we'll be more than happy to bring you to add new challenges for the audience. If you're not a coder, but you spot a typo, yes, you see there is a share feedback button on top. Just send us a message. We are now translating Kodiri to 18 languages. So if you speak any sexy language and you want to help us, yeah, that will be highly appreciated. We'll be able to reach a higher audience, of course. All right, so let's do something, guys. Let's have a look to the results. That's great. We got a good crowd here. So I would like to present the results for lower beginner, upper beginner, and eventually upper intermediate. So if you give me perhaps 20 seconds, I will make sure that everyone's that I got the results for every single participant. So let me, yeah, fantastic. So first of all, I can see that no one managed to get any points in the upper intermediate. Of course, it was quite challenging, right? So I'm gonna ignore it. But I would like to present you, that's first of all lower beginner. So what you can see here is the result of inlining side by side all the players that have participated in this challenge. Again, lower beginner. So if you've played, you'll be represented by a color. You don't know yet whether you are the blue, the red, or the pink, but you are a color. And what are we measuring here? We are evaluating your performance based on a series of metrics. So first of all, tenacity. How many questions you've completed out of 5? Then we got accuracy. How many times you submit your question, but it wasn't right? Speed. How long it took you to complete the game? Focus. How many times you went to Google or to Stack Overflow to find how to change the styling of the content. And last but not least, elegance, how standard your code is according to our linting guidelines. This is about semicolons, indentation, break lines, all the sort of details. Yeah. All right, so let's have a look to the team results. So what we got here, what you can see is this is the battle setup. On the left-hand side, you got people who prefer Flexbox, and on the right-hand side, you got people who prefer playing with Grid. So what we're going to see in a minute is the median score of each team. And based on that, we'll see which team has better skills, let's say, to deal with this particular set of questions. At the same time, at the bottom of my screen, you'll see the individual results on each team. So that will give you an idea about who is the leader, who ended up second, third, and so on. All right, so CSS Flexbox Lovers team got a median score of 48. That's quite good. That's a good score. And now the question is, right-hand side, CSS Grid Lovers, will it be above or below 48? Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. Look at that. She nailed it. 96 points. That's amazing. That's fantastic. So, yeah, so we got 1-0 for the CSS Grid Lovers. And now, before we call it a day, let's quickly have a look to the upper beginner, where, if you remember, we had to do a bit of coding by ourselves. In this occasion, you can see that a couple of players struggle a bit more. Obviously, the challenges were a bit more difficult to deal with. But yeah, let's just go through the results. So if you give me a second, I will present. Oh, look at that! That's a good battle. So 2 players liking Flexbox versus 3 players liking Grid in this occasion. So median score of the Flexbox Lovers team is, oh, look at that, 94. 94, that's a fantastic result. So now, Matteo, what do you think? You participated as well, right? So
I tested, but I skipped a lot of things because I was following you more than writing my
God. So your team is going to be penalized because of your performance.
Exactly. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I would penalize anyway because, as you could see,
Nice. So anyway, let's just figure it out. Let's see what's the score of the Grid Lovers team. Oh, look at that. It's 36.
It's my fault.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
It's also actually I'm perfectly in the average.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So yeah, guys, that was pretty much it. No worries. I mean, ideally, once hopefully we got the vaccine and all these things, we'll be able to repeat this experience face to face, setting teams, and I think it's a very nice experience, helping others, learning from your environment, and all these things. Yes, yeah. 2 more things very quickly in 1 minute. If you play with a challenge, if you revisit the challenge, you cannot play again. However, something you can do is you can check your code. So you can, as you can see in my screen, you can first of all revisit the code that you wrote, and also you can compare it with your colleagues. So I think it's a good way to analyze different coding styles, different strategies. Also, if someone didn't manage to find the answer, so we can try to analyze why the code is right, why the code is wrong. We can also upvote or downvote solutions depending on how elegant or how efficient they are. Yeah, so feel free to revisit the challenges. And the very last thing is, you'll find, apart from the playground, you'll find many additional features. So for instance, you got things like the leaderboards, where you'll find the best players of the day, of the week, of the month. You can contact players if you got questions. So I think this is a very healthy community. And if you like the competitive aspect of coding, you may like to spend some time dealing with our metrics about top players of the day, of the week, of the month, You can get the statistics by country. So for instance, you can see what's the average score of developers based on each country, the most successful players. You got some influencers, some coding influencers here, like Giacomo and many others. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much Kodiri. And again, if anyone is keen to collaborate, please send a message. You can either drop a message here using the share feedback or sending us an email at hi@kodiri.com. And yeah, and that was pretty much it from my side. So thank you very much to Matteo, of course, and to everybody else for your support today, including Pusher. Yes, I hope you enjoyed the experience, Matteo. And I really look forward to...
I discovered I have to spend a bit of time to review a lot of things.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to to do a bit of mental exercise, to practice a bit from time to time.
Yeah, actually, again, the last time I touched CSS is like 3 years ago. So it's quite a long time. I know how it works, but writing the rules is different.
yeah, indeed. Cool. Thank you very much again, guys. I hope you enjoyed the experience, and I look forward to see you again in the next one.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ricardo. As I know you've already said, it was a great experience, a really great platform that I know that we've used on a number of occasions and will continue using going forward. And as you've said, if anybody hasn't had the opportunity to use it before and doesn't want to play around with it, obviously you've mentioned your contact details, and we can perhaps drop your contact details in the comments as well, just so that everybody knows to get in contact with you for more information there as well. So yeah, as some of you are aware, we have done a Christmas raffle as well, just obviously due to the time period, everything, the season at the moment, and we do have some great prizes as well. So I've just got in front of me some of the raffle winners. So there has been 3 winners. So the 3 winners today, so the first one, I'm not sure if she's on at the moment, but if not, I will obviously contact directly, is Emily Monday. So Emily Monday, congratulations to you. You've won some Medidata swag. So there's a lot of different things there. I know that there's water bottles, pens, notebooks with t-shirts, hoodies, sort of a big collection there of Medidata swag that has kindly been donated by one of our clients, which was really nice of them as well. So congratulations on that. We can get that sent straight out to you. Another winner for this evening is Natasha Wiley. Natasha Wiley, you have won a personalised water bottle, which again has been donated by one of our really good clients, which will also be sent to you as soon as possible. I'll obviously contact you for your details, and we'll get that sent straight through to you. And the final winner for this evening is Caroline Joffrey, who has won a personalised branding session with myself. So I'll be taking an hour out whenever your diary is free to do you a personalised branding session with myself and spend some time to go through all of that with you. So those are the 3 winners for this evening, the 3 raffle winners. I know that a lot of people have, put money in for the cause and everything, which has been really, really good. And again, thank you to Matteo for the great talk, Ricardo for... Yeah. They can win some prizes as well. Yeah, no, definitely. So they will also win some prizes. We've got a number of different prizes as well. I know that there's some private sessions with Ricardo, to be able to get some more information and insight on Kodiri. And we've got a number of different prizes as well, including some meerkats and things like that from Compare the Market. So we'll get all of your prizes sent out to you, the 3 winners there. And as Alex kindly said as well, the 2 winners from Ricardo's challenge as well. So yeah, obviously, I just wanted to say another thank you to Matteo, Alex, and obviously the team at Pusher as well to make the Christmas special, really successful. I know it is a busy time period for everybody as well, so I appreciate obviously if you did manage to come on to the live stream today. As you all know as well, it will be on YouTube, so if you didn't manage to watch the full thing and you wish to go back to it or send it to somebody that you do know that might be interested, then it will be up within YouTube as well to be able to access that as well. Yeah.